So basically, I'm pretty sure we have a ghost in our apartment.
One night, I was staying up super late. It must have been like 2 or 3 a.m.
Like lights would flicker on and
whatever
off.
was in her room with
The spirit that was present, was it a positive one?
Probably not a real person.
We had some stuff that started moving on its own.
I heard someone calling this lady whispers like, John. Started like,
and then it kind of just got worse, and there was like blood on
and
the
if they do
carpet.
kill me, I won't have to finish my paper.
I feel like everybody like hears a story, but like everybody won't believe it until something actually happens.
There's a ghost story for almost every building on campus.
in the Concordia bubble, like a lot of people do know about it because like, I don't know, it's just like something to talk about.
When I first came to Concordia, I heard all the ghost stories, and I heard about like going to the, what are they called? The
Concordia Archives has a whole section on the ghosts here at campus.
I think most students have a vague idea that there are ghosts on campus because it's always the thing that people talk about, especially when they're living on campus. It's like, oh, there's a ghost in this building, there's a ghost in this building, there's some ghosts over here.
So Concordia's got a ghost problem apparently. I don't know.
I heard about the ghost of Hoyam when I was a freshman here. Everyone was like, ooh, spooky, Hoyam is haunted, and I was like, okay, and?
I didn't know that Hoyam was haunted until like maybe like the last semester of freshman year.
Hoyam also has a female ghost.
They had a name for it, I forget what it was, but like if anything was ever going down, like what people thought was paranormal on their floor, they'd say like, oh, stop it, whatever the name was, and then it would stop.
I believe the students call her Catherine in that building.
A lot of people on campus are really into doing Ouija boards in the dorms, and that's one thing that I'm like, absolutely not.
I'm a really big fan of Ouija boards. I think that if you know how to use them and you're safe and you have someone who's experienced in knowing how to use them, that it can be a positive experience. Obviously, it also cannot be. We were on the 6th floor of Hoyam, and Catherine was there, and we talked to her for almost 2 hours. She was a student here and had passed away. She committed suicide towards winter semester, and I believe she was on the 6th floor.
When I was in Hoyam my freshman year, the 6th floor was haunted, and I have like stories that people have told me of when they lived on the 6th floor and like weird shit would happen.
I don't know, the stories I heard like got me really paranoid because then I started like nitpicking little things, like in the bathroom sometimes the radio would like start making static noises because I'd usually, be up late. No, it's like the lights would start flickering too.
Sophomore year, I lived in Hoyam on the 6th floor. Usually, sometimes our door isn't shut all the way, and then sometimes it would just creak open occasionally, and then it would close.
I had a room to myself, and so it was a double, like standard dorm room in Hoyam. So one day I had my door open, chilling in my room playing video games. My door just starts going, and I just went, hi, and it stopped.
There's things in the libraries, and there's documents of her like being at people's bedside, and she will knock stuff off doors and whiteboards, or she'll make the paper towel machine go off. The hardest part of like being on campus still is like those winter months, because everyone leaves for Christmas break, so the dorms are empty, she's isolated again, and like for her that's just a sad part of her life. It was a traumatic thing that happened.
The story with the old main ghost is that it was a female student.
She fell in love with her professor and was a student here, and like confessed her love via note, and like had left it on his office, and his response was like, no, I can't do this, no, I'm like, the answer is no. And that heartbreak and that loss was enough for her to take her own life as well.
By jumping out the top floor of Old Main.
I think she has a sort of like vengeance against this professor. He doesn't teach here anymore, but his office still like remains because the buildings haven't changed. And so
it's a rumor that Now every Valentine's Day, a professor that is in Old Main usually gets like a Valentine's Day letter.
That like would show up in that room from her. That's scary because she's not here anymore. Well, not in this realm anyways.
The thing is that if they try to show it to anyone else, that letter immediately disappears. So it's only really through like word of mouth. There's no like real there's no physical letter that we know of. There is a thing, apparently, from what I've read, looking at the, reading the ghost files and the archives, is that it is believed that she may have been murdered.
Don't piss people off on purpose. It's not going to end well, whether they're living or dead.
There isn't really any like origin story for the theater ghost. His name is Al Gershbach.
He's really wonderful from my experiences, but I have heard some stories where he's been not so friendly to certain people. Al is one of the ghosts on campus who likes to pick on people when they can.
He tries to make sure that all the theater productions go well, and he's always very adamant in being included in the theater programs. It started out with a single program or a set of programs that they printed off. It came back from the printers and Al's name was on it, and so it started becoming a whole thing where if Al's name isn't in the program, that theater production might not go too well.
This is his theater, he lives here. It's sort of Phantom of the Opera-esque. I don't know if he was a student here or if he just took place here.
There was a story once, I don't remember how long ago it was, but during one of the bows, members of the cast wanted to give a special shout out to Al Gershbach. Right as his name was announced, something fluttered up from the cats and slowly drifted down into the floor.
There's been times where he'll be down in the costume shop and you'll hear sweeping or you'll hear coats moving and like the racks. I've heard things about where he usually resides in the prop room. Some of the friends I've talked to during the show this year, that they said they've heard voices coming from the prop room and that it doesn't sound like what it should be, but they go in there and no one's there.
Most people I talk to, they're pretty aware of ghost stories, especially in Fjellstedt.
When they reopened Fjellstedt, of course, I was super interested in the ghost of Fjellstedt.
We actually know that she was an actual former
Student at Concordia.
And if this happened, they said in like the 40s or 50s or something.
I had asked a bunch of people about like stories of her. What is her name?
I believe her name is Dolly.
She was here on the 50s. Her full name was Dolorita Larson.
She's also one of the ghosts that people kind of steer away from. That seems to be the trend with like the main ones on campus.
And the story goes is that it was during finals week.
And she couldn't handle the pressure of like being a student, being on her own and whatnot.
The stress might have just gotten to her, and she hung herself in the attic above the chapel in Fjellstedt.
And the actual room is on the second floor in Fjellstedt, in the chapel room, and now the room is locked and no one goes into the room.
Fjellstedt was shut down for like 4 or 5 years, right? And then like last year was the first year that it was used.
When they redid Fjellstedt, they repainted and redesigned all the dorms so it would reopen again. The second floor study room door like had been locked for ages, and they like opened it to repaint it.
When they went into that chapel room,
the temperature was like 20 degrees colder than the rest of the Fjellstedt building.
there was just like a couple of desks like in a perfect triangle, exactly where they found her.
Things were not where they were supposed to be and not where they had been left, and so I think it's fair to just maybe leave her alone for a while.
And now it's just that the people just see apparitions of her in the hallways, or like doors slamming shut and other electrical stuff as well.
So in Fjellstedt, I got back to my room and I did homework till like 1, 2 in the morning. And like I was like taking off my coat or whatever, taking off my sweatshirt, and like I just got this like intense feeling of someone like standing behind me. And both my roommates were passed out. I just got this intense feeling, and I like turn around, and there's just a black mass, and then it just disappeared. Then like I told this to one of the guys on my floor, and he was like, dude, every night at 3 a.m. I wake up, and there's feet like outside my door. Like, you know, you can see the light coming from, it looks like there's someone just standing outside my door.
Last year, my roommate gave me this mannequin for a Christmas gift, and it was sometime in February, I believe. We decided to do some ghost hunting, and we put the mannequin in there, and we had this night vision camera, and we put the camera there for 3 nights, and before we left, we told the ghost, hey, like, if you're here, move the mannequin. On the 3rd night, it was actually around 8 p.m., I saw something move. I had goosebumps. Yeah, I actually thought it was a ghost.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So I like to say that I don't, just so that I can like pretend that they don't exist and that they're not gonna hurt me. But I definitely do.
I do now because of this mannequin. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. There is no shot that ghosts are not a thing. Like, it's 100% like a fact.
Obviously, yes, 100%. Even if I don't see them all the time, I believe that they are there always.